From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Coming up on AgDay.
Up next, we're outdoors on the farm at Divin Family Farms up in northern Iowa.
Protecting rural teens on the road by putting them in the driver's seat of a big rig. And new talk of more U.S. ag buys involving China.
America will stay the course.
AgDay, presented by the Chevy Silverado and the all-new Silverado HD, the strongest, most advanced family of Silverados ever.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. There's more talk of possible big buys of U.S. ag coming out of China. Bloomberg reporting that sources say China will buy at least $20 billion worth of U.S. ag products in a year. Now that's if it signs a phase 1 trade deal with the U.S. Bloomberg sources say the country would consider increasing buys in the future after further trade talks. Now $20 billion would be equal to about what China was buying in 2017 before the trade war began. It's not known when that first year buying would start. The two sides are currently working to finalize the first phase of the agreement. U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer says the administration is working to get a trade deal in time for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation meetings in Chile next month. Vice President Mike Pence speaking about the relationship between the U.S. and China at the Woodrow Wilson Center in Washington.
America will continue to seek a better relationship with China. And as we do so, we will speak plainly. Because this is a relationship that both the United States and China have to get right. America will continue to seek a fundamental restructuring of our relationship with China. And under the leadership of President Donald Trump, America will stay the course.
Now, China did buy more U.S. ag, USDA reporting a flash sale Thursday of 264,000 metric tons of soybeans. And work continues on getting the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement through Congress. House Ways and Means Chairman, Democrat Richard Neal, speaking with reporters after a meeting with U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer. Now, he said Democrats would likely only need a few more meetings with Lighthizer to wrap up a deal with the White House, saying, quote, "We have really narrowed our differences considerably," end quote. A coalition has now filed suit over the EPA granting those small refinery waivers. The suit was filed by ag and biofuel groups with the Court of Appeals in Washington. The groups are not happy with the agency's process for granting those refinery exemptions to the biofuel blending mandates, believing it's undercutting demand for fuels such as ethanol. Those involved in the suit include the Renewable Fuels Association, the American Coalition for Ethanol, and Growth Energy. And another lawsuit, this time over the Trump administration's repeal of the Waters of the U.S. rule. Now, environmental groups saying the move was legally flawed and violates due process. The 11 groups involved saying, quote, "The agencies have simply gone through the motions of giving notice and taking comment without providing any legitimate rationale to support the predetermined result," end quote. New information about the Missouri farmer now facing murder charges in the death of two ranching brothers from Wisconsin. We're learning more about why the brothers traveled to Missouri. An employee of the two brothers believes 25-year-old Garland Nelson promised to give the men money to lure them to his farm so he could kill them. Now, Nelson is now charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of 35-year-old Nick Dimmel and 24-year-old Justin Dimmel. Rob Chubb managed the feeder cattle side of the business operated by the brothers. Chubb says he's angry, but that he knew from the day the brothers disappeared, Nelson was involved. Now, he says the brothers had done business with Nelson in January and that Nelson owed them money. Court documents indicate Nelson owed the Dimmel family about $250,000. As parents, there's nothing more nerve-wracking than a new driver in the family. Now, did you know that car crashes are the #1 cause of death for teens in the U.S.? Probably doesn't help you, but this week is National Teen Driver Safety Week, and some teens are getting behind the wheel of a big rig, as Steve White with NTV News in Nebraska shows us.
In a geographically large school district, some of these kids might travel 20 to 30 miles one way to school. If you climb in a big rig, gotta honk the horn. Or at least pretend. In rural areas, students often share the road with semis.
A lot of us here in the town have a lot of our dads work for hauling grain and harvest.
Kerrigan Burke's uncle was hauling cattle recently when he was in a crash.
And this is the whole accident.
Kerrigan looks at the aftermath. He says his uncle was put in a tough spot when a woman went into his lane to avoid a deer.
He didn't want to hit her, so he swerved and they ended up rolling the semi.
His uncle's okay, but truckers remind kids they can't stop on a dime.
It's extremely dangerous.
Reminding these young drivers, if they can't see a trucker in the mirror,
the driver cannot see you.
Safety experts from the Texas A&M Transportation Institute say risks for teen drivers include distractions, drinking, speeding, and low seatbelt use.
Because that seatbelt will save your life someday.
Nighttime driving is another concern, and some of these kids spend long days at school, and the goggles show drowsy driving is just as bad as drunk driving.
You know, just that split second of closing your eyes, I mean, you could, run into a big rig or a deer could jump in front of you.
Plus, some rural kids put a lot of miles on.
Some kids drive up to like 25 miles to school, so they see lots of traffic and have lots of time on the highway.
I said it to my mom.
An initiative called Teens in the Driver's Seat empowers kids like Kerrigan to share safety messages, like awareness of blind spots for truck drivers.
They think we could see them, and you really can't.
You get a good reminder of they can't always see you, even though you can see them.
It's always the adults are preaching a traffic safety message to us. They're preaching it to themselves and really making that impact throughout Nebraska.
Safety experts credit Central Valley. This isn't a one-day activity, but something they will reinforce all throughout the school year. Steve White, NTV News, Greeley.
It's always a welcome sign when harvest starts to come to an end, as meteorologist Kimberly Newman shows us in today's crop comments.
After a season of struggle and hard work, this is the moment it all comes together. Pete Cameron of Bainbridge, New York, sharing this picture with us. He says he's on to the last few days of chopping corn. Judging by the blue skies we're seeing in the photo there as well, Mother Nature is giving him a bit of a hand. Definitely nice looking at that picture, and hopefully a lot of farmers are making their way towards the end of this season. Now, if we take a look at the winds across the area here, it is rather blustery, unfortunately blowing around those leftover crops and some of those leaves that have now fallen. Getting into your Friday afternoon and evening, you'll see the strongest winds are up in northern Montana and picking up a little bit closer to the Gulf Coast. Beyond that, into the upcoming weekend, some of those outdoor chores will be impacted by stronger winds as we pick up those stronger speeds heading into the northern plains. I'll have more on your full forecast coming up in just a bit.
There's a lot of buzz around these latest China trade talks, but what if a deal doesn't happen? We'll talk about that next. And later, we'll head outdoors on the farm with Chip Flory for a lesson in precision conservation. What does that mean? He'll explain from the fields of Iowa.
Hey y'all, Justin Moore here. Get ready to kick up some dust with the Roxor Dirt Roads and a Country Show sweepstakes. Enter now for a chance to win a customized off-road Roxor and 2 VIP tickets to one of my upcoming concerts. Visit roxoroffroad.com/Justin Moore.
Here now with Arlen Suderman of INTL FC Stone. Arlen, China, we're hearing that possibly we may see the administration sign a deal, the phase 1 of the deal, in November. Okay, so let's start off with the bad news. What if we don't see that deal signed?
Well, I think we'll see the market skepticism really come back hot and heavy. Right now, they're a little bit nervous about building shorts just in case it does come through, but they'd be willing to double down on their short positions if it doesn't.
Okay, so let's say we do see this deal signed. The pen is to paper, the ink is there. What do you think this sets the stage for?
Well, the market still wants to see shipments. Sales, yes, but shipments. That's what it really wants to see. 40 to 50 billion is probably President Trump's sales personality. Doing his sales job. It's going to be hard to hit that without higher prices, but lo and behold, if we do get the demand, prices would be expected to go up. The biggest we've seen before is north of 29 billion. It is possible with all the pork, potentially beef, and poultry we sell to hit that, but probably not that high. It's still positive, still good.
But we're still seeing China book sales from Brazil too. So it's not like it's just us right now. They're still playing in that Brazil sandbox heavily.
Well, the private buyers, they still have to pay the tariffs, so they're going to Brazil. The state buyers are the ones going to have to buy from us until the tariffs are removed. That's what's been doing most of the buying today.
But real quick, with the trade negotiations, do you feel like the tone changed in the last round?
Absolutely. I see a difference inside of China, indicating with African swine fever creating a meat crisis, and with the pro-democracy demonstrations in Hong Kong and their slowing economy, they want a deal.
Arlen Suderman, INTL-FC Stone, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll have much more right here on AgDay.
Contact Arlen Suderman by email at arlen.suderman@intlfcstone.com. Closed captioning is brought to you by BASF. Grow smart with BASF. We create chemistry.
Meteorologist Kimberly Newman joining us with a look at our root zone moisture map. And if you look here, you can see kind of right there in the heart of the Midwest, still pretty wet soils out there, even while harvest is going on.
A little muddy for those farmers trying to get it through and get it done. But here's the deal. The best chance of rain will actually be south of that area moving forward. So certainly as we move forward, we'll be keeping an eye on northern Illinois, Iowa, parts of Wisconsin. But the best chance for rain showers is going to be farther south, where we see this low pressure system moving away from Texas and pulling right through parts of Louisiana, really training overhead for several days. We're now looking at this evening at 7 p.m. a nice high pressure system in control for the Great Lakes region. We've also got another one pulling farther back into the desert Southwest, along with snow. Yeah, it's that time of year. That low pressure system to our north and west is bringing those flakes flying on through. If we watch this low pressure system, though, I think that this is the real focus across the nation here. The cold front could fire off some really strong storms, along with this wraparound moisture that is going to be engulfing that low pressure system. This moves us into the weekend and continues to push more moisture into that area right along the Mississippi region. Now, as we move forward here, the high pressure system off to our west continues to force forward as more snow showers fall through parts of the Rockies. Meanwhile, the wet weather is going to be there in our south, moving off the Gulf Coast, most of the Midwest staying dry until we get to Saturday afternoon and evening. This will definitely impact those harvesting plans as we move into the second half of the weekend. Additional rain showers are likely for the beginning of next week. Meanwhile, we're keeping an eye on those snow showers, many of which will be trapped in the northern Rockies as we move forward here into the weekend, and of course looking at those cooler temperatures accompanying that snow. Here we are. The only warm weather we see on the map is down in Florida, southern Georgia, and then of course back into California. Los Angeles near 90 degrees today. Pardon me. Meanwhile, as we move into tomorrow morning, there are parts of the Midwest that we will be waking up near the freezing point, so very chilly out there as we move forward. A nice warm up into the 40s elsewhere as we head into the afternoon. Watching this entire cold air mass diving south as we head into Monday of next week. It looks like, unfortunately, a lot of kiddos are going to have to bundle up underneath their Halloween costumes by Thursday. That's a look across the nation. Let's take a look at temperatures in your neck of the woods. Porcupine, South Dakota, sunny and windy with a high of 62. Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, calm, cloudy with some light rain and a high of 63. And looking at Blackbird, Delaware, partly cloudy skies, mild conditions and a high of 69.
Denver, Colorado, seeing a good amount of snow. Check out the morning drive on Thursday. Lots of heavy wet snow. Now we're told higher elevations got even more than a foot of snow, with one area reporting 19 inches of snow. We've heard about precision agriculture, but what about precision conservation? Chip Flory has that discussion and what it means for wildlife when he heads outdoors on the farm. Next. And later, how about a side order of sea urchin to go with your next meal? Maybe a thing. We'll tell you why coming up in the country.
Shop Machinery Pete's Price Slasher Sale now through October 31st, all online at machinerypete.com/sale.
I'm Justin Moore. Welcome to Outdoors on the Farm, brought to you by my friends at Roxor. From muddy trails to dusty work sites to hidden hunting spots, nothing gets you through it like a rugged Roxor. It's a side-by-side unlike any other.
Outdoors on the farm, where I was born, I was raised, and I'll do whatever it takes to stay. Outdoors on the farm.
Welcome back to Outdoors on the Farm, everybody. I'm your host, Chip Flory. We were talking with Josh Diven. We're on the Diven family farm here in Scarville, Iowa. It's north central Iowa. Guys, you've heard me talk about precision conservation. The reason that I'm so into the whole concept is because there is a financial reward here, isn't there, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, with precision conservation, the concept is just to be strategic in where you're implementing a habitat practice, and it makes sense. It makes more financial sense if you're targeting, a marginal, unprofitable part of a field that you're not making a buck on anyway.
Exactly. So it all starts with data, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's exciting right now. You hear data, you can't get away from hearing data with ag. And what's really neat is the spatial data. So it gives you the opportunity to understand what's happening exactly in every part of the farm. And that just helps farmers make better decisions within a field.
Right, right. Now, like I said, there's a financial return to this whole concept. Let's talk about that, because really what you're doing is you're identifying that least productive part of a field, that spot that costs you money every year, right?
Yeah, you can use aerial imagery, you can use yield data maps, you can use, there's all these different things to help you zero in on those spots where you're losing money.
Yep.
And then it's just a matter of deciding if there's alternatives that can, help you be more profitable on the farm.
Right. Now, when we talk about those alternatives, really what we're doing is we're saving production costs first and foremost, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're going to save yourself from the input costs on something you're not getting a return on.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate.
Now, from that point, then you have to decide: are we going to be going with CRP ground? Are we going to be going with a wetland? A lot of things have to be considered at that point.
Yeah, there's tons of options, which is a good thing, because it allows more people more choice and a better fit for their operation. This is a wetland CRP in this case, because it fit this property, because this is a low-lying area that was drowning out for us, every other year, and it wasn't making sense, and there was a better way.
So yeah, so here you are putting money into a piece of ground where your production was down. It was a pain in the butt to harvest, I'm sure.
Yep.
So now you've got something that's much more productive. You're working with the ground rather than against the ground, is what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool. Josh, in the next time that you and I talk, I want to identify one of those spots, take a good close look at it, help farmers understand that, hey, you might have a 2 or 3 acre spot out on your farm that will work with this precision conservation as well. We're talking with Josh Diven, Diven Family Farms up in Scarville. I'm Chip Flory. We'll talk to you next time on Outdoors on the Farm.
All right, thanks, Chip. Well, up next, on the hunt for solutions to a different environmental problem, these purple sea urchins are eating the great kelp forest off the West Coast. A seafood lover solution to that problem. Next.
Hey y'all, Justin Moore here. Get ready to kick up some dust with the Roxor Dirt Roads and a Country Show sweepstakes. Enter now for a chance to win a customized off-road Roxor and 2 VIP tickets to one of my upcoming concerts. Visit roxoroffroad.com/Justin Moore.
How does this sound as a snack? Sea urchins. Researchers in California are hoping more people will give it a try in order to save a unique kind of forest. Now, in less than a decade, the Northern California coast has lost more than 90% of its kelp forest. It's hurting marine species that live in these important ecosystems. Now, what's behind it? Well, scientists say an explosion of purple sea urchins, and the problem is growing. Oregon researchers are now reporting a 10,000% spike in purple urchins over the past 5 years. So if you can't beat them, why not eat them? A California marine lab is turning these destructive ocean pests into a seafood delicacy.
Urchinomics is about turning an environmental problem into an ecological, social, and economic opportunity. What we do is we take the overgrazing sea urchins that are destroying the kelp forests, we pluck them up, and we ranch them and turn them into premium seafood products like uni.
Now, some folks put it on toast or even in spaghetti. They say it tastes like the sea, but without that fishy taste, similar to eating caviar. That's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. Spent part of your day with us. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clint Grivis. Have a great day.
AgDay, brought to you by the Milk Business Conference. Don't miss this dairy business-focused event November 11th and 12th, 2019 in Las Vegas. Register today at milkbusinessconference.com.